Welcome to ISE's FX Options Weekly Outlook, a weekly outlook on the US dollar versus the major currencies, hosted by Jason Ayres, a top industry instructor and founder of OptionSource.net. Learn to trade your views on the strength or weakness of the US dollar.
Well, hi there and welcome to the ISE FX Options Weekly Outlook for December 7th to the 13th. I'm your host, Jason Ayres, founder and president of OptionSource.net. As always, we're going to start with a look at our weekly U.S. dollar index. This is a great way to gain perspective as to how the U.S. dollar has been trading against a basket of currencies. And as you can see here, the 87 to 88 focal zone continues to be a key area of resistance for the U.S. dollar index. A quick snapshot of a daily price chart is suggesting that we are seeing some consolidation between these two key areas, the 84, 85, 87, 88 focal zones. Now that being said, another rejection off this 87 to 88 is likely to find support down into this 84, 85, and a breakthrough once again is going to find us targeting the 90 to 92 focal zone. And with that in mind, let's take a look at our first ISE FX options pair value, the CDD. Well, it's tough to ignore that large continuation pattern here forming within this particular pair value. It represents an ascending continuation triangle suggesting the possibility of further moves to the upside. Now, last week's strong move in the U.S. dollar against the Canadian facilitated yet a third test of this key resistance level in at that 128 to 130 focal zone. Now, Friday's close suggested some apprehension into breaking through these levels, and at this point it does appear as though we may be in for another test back down into that 122 to 124 focal zone. Now, that being said, a continuation and to the upside here and a break above the 130 will have us focusing on the 134 to 136 box as a logical upside target. The YUK, the US versus the yen, broke down out of that sideways triangle that we had identified last week. We now see the pair value testing the 91.5 to 92.5 focal zone. A natural retracement of this move would bring the 95-96 area back into play for upside resistance. A continued breakdown of the pair value will have us targeting the 88 to 89 box. Next up, the EUI, the US versus the Euro, and as we can see here, the pair value simply danced along the key support level identified within the 77 to 78 focal zone. If the US dollar finds some legs, a bounce will bring the 80 to 82 area back into play as upside resistance. A break below this 77 to 78 focal zone will have us targeting the 75-76 box. Well, we saw a strong rally in the BPX, the U.S. versus the British pound. A breakout to the upside brings the 71-72 focal zone back into play. Friday's close, however, suggests that the path of least resistance appears to be towards a test of the 65-66 box as the pair value rejects at this key resistance level. And finally, the AUX, the US versus the Aussie dollar, spent the week consolidating along our support area identified between 150 and 152. The 160 to 165 focal zone remains a target should the pair value rally from these levels. If the pair value does not hold at this level, however, the 140 to the 142.5 box remains our downside target. So folks, let's just take a quick review of our key points here. Our thesis still continues to be bullish for the U.S. dollar over the longer time frame. However, we are currently cautious of the potential for a retracement. The CDD and the BPX rallied strong off of their key supports this week for another test of a resistance. A failure to break may lend credibility to the potential for some intermediate term backfilling. The EUI and the AUX are showing some signs of indecision at a key support. Indicators are suggesting continued weakness within these pair values. And finally, the YUK is testing a key support. Watch for the possibility of a bottoming pattern formation. This has been your ISE FX Options Weekly Outlook for December 8th to the 13th. I have been your host, Jason Ayres, founder and president of OptionSource.net. Thank you very much for joining me this week, and we'll see you here next week.
Thank you for participating in this week's session. Please join us again next week. For more information about Jason Ayres and to sign up for free FX options trade alerts, just visit www.optionsource.net. To learn more about ISE FX options, including our weekly webinar series, visit us at www.ise.com/fx. ISE FX options can easily be traded through all options-enabled brokerage accounts. These exchange-listed securities are cash-settled in U.S. dollars and have a European-style exercise.